The world that existed during the age of the dinosaurs was radically different from the one we know today. It was a world dominated by colossal creatures, where the environment, ecosystems, and the very air we breathe were all distinct from anything modern humans would ever experience. Imagine a time when the Earth was ruled by beings that could range from the size of a car to the size of a skyscraper, where the sky was patrolled by flying reptiles and the seas teemed with monstrous aquatic predators. It was a time before humans. But what if we had existed alongside these majestic, terrifying creatures? How would humanity have survived in such an environment? And would we have been able to coexist with the dinosaurs? Or would our presence have changed the course of history entirely? Dinosaurs, as we know them, first appeared over 230 million years ago during the Mesozoic era, which spans 3 periods: the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. These periods saw the rise and fall of various species of dinosaurs, from the small, nimble predators to the massive, plant-eating giants that roamed the Earth. The early days of the dinosaurs were not marked by their dominance, as other reptiles and early mammals shared the world with them. But as the Mesozoic progressed, the dinosaurs slowly began to take over the planet, eventually becoming the apex species in nearly every environment on Earth. During the Mesozoic era, the Earth's continents were arranged differently than they are today. The land masses were largely connected in one supercontinent known as Pangaea, which began to break apart during the late Triassic and Jurassic periods, leading to the formation of the continents as we recognize them today. This shift in geography had profound effects on the climate, ecosystems, and the evolutionary paths of the creatures that lived there. As the continents drifted apart, new environments were created and new opportunities for species to adapt and evolve emerged. The dinosaurs, with their diverse range of sizes, shapes, and adaptations, were perfectly poised to take advantage of these changing conditions. While dinosaurs ruled the land, the skies were dominated by flying reptiles such as the pterosaurs, which ranged from small bird-like creatures to gigantic wingspans that could stretch over 30 feet. The oceans were inhabited by creatures like the mosasaurs, which were among the largest marine reptiles to ever live, and the plesiosaurs, whose long necks and massive bodies made them formidable predators of the sea. These reptiles, while not technically dinosaurs, were part of the same age and contributed to the complex ecosystems that existed at the time. In terms of climate, the Mesozoic era was generally much warmer than the Earth is today. There were no polar ice caps, and the overall climate was more humid, which allowed for lush, dense forests to thrive. This was an environment in which dinosaurs could grow to enormous sizes, and where the abundance of plant life provided food for herbivorous species, which, in turn, fed the carnivorous dinosaurs. The warm climate also helped sustain large, thriving ecosystems across the planet, with life occurring at every level, from the oceans to the skies to the forest floors. So, what would it have been like for humans if we had existed during this time? For one thing, we would have had to adapt to an environment that was far more dangerous than anything we could imagine today. The sheer size and power of the dinosaurs would have made it incredibly difficult for humans to survive in the same way we do now. In fact, it's highly unlikely that human beings would have been able to survive in the early periods of the Mesozoic without significant adaptations. Early humans, if they had existed, would have been prey to the massive carnivores that ruled the land, such as the terrifying Tyrannosaurus rex or the long-necked Brachiosaurus, which could crush anything beneath its enormous weight. The planet would have been filled with dangers at every turn, from predatory dinosaurs hunting for food to the constant threat of natural disasters, such as volcanic eruptions and massive storms. The presence of dinosaurs would have drastically changed human evolution. Had humans somehow evolved to live during this time, early humans would have likely been forced to develop new survival strategies, perhaps relying on speed, stealth, and intelligence to avoid the massive predators that dominated the land. The development of tools and weapons would have been crucial for any early human society, as the only way to survive would have been to use our intellect and creativity to outmaneuver these formidable creatures. But even with the best weapons and strategies, the odds of survival would have been slim. The physical environment itself would have posed significant challenges, from the extreme heat and humidity to the frequent volcanic activity that would have created a hostile, ever-changing landscape. One of the greatest challenges humans would have faced would have been the massive size of the dinosaurs. In today's world, humans are the dominant species, capable of altering the environment to suit our needs. But in a world ruled by dinosaurs, humans would have been small, fragile creatures in comparison. The sheer scale of the animals that lived alongside humans would have been overwhelming. Imagine walking through a forest and seeing a creature that was taller than a 10-story building, or encountering a predator that could outrun you with ease. Survival would not have been a matter of simply finding food and shelter, but of avoiding being eaten by the apex predators that roamed the land. At the same time, humans might have had an advantage that the dinosaurs did not: intelligence. While dinosaurs were certainly remarkable creatures with advanced physical capabilities, their brains were relatively small in proportion to their size. Early humans, however, were capable of higher cognitive functions that could have allowed them to outsmart the dinosaurs. If humans had coexisted with these ancient creatures, our ability to communicate, organize, and strategize could have given us the edge in terms of survival. We could have used tools and weapons to defend ourselves, and over time, our intellectual and social structures could have allowed us to carve out a place in this dangerous world. However, it's important to note that human survival in such an environment would have come with a massive cost. The prehistoric world would have been an incredibly hostile place, where the struggle for survival would have been constant. The dangers of living alongside dinosaurs would have shaped every aspect of human life, from the way we built our homes to the way we hunted and gathered food. It's also possible that early human societies might have formed in ways we can't fully comprehend, adapting to the pressures of living in such a dangerous world. But what if humans had existed during the time when dinosaurs were already in decline? Towards the end of the Cretaceous period, the dinosaurs began to fade away, likely due to a combination of climate changes, volcanic activity, and the catastrophic asteroid impact that is thought to have caused their extinction. If humans had evolved at this time, they might have found themselves in a world where the dinosaurs were already in the process of dying out, but the ecosystem was still shaped by their legacy. Early humans might have found opportunities to flourish in a world where the top predators had already been wiped out, allowing them to establish themselves as the dominant species. In this scenario, humans could have had a much easier time surviving, as the greatest threats to their existence would no longer be the massive predators that once roamed the Earth. Instead, humans would have faced the challenge of adjusting to a changing world, one in which the ecosystems were shifting and new species were emerging to fill the gaps left by the dinosaurs. Humans might have evolved alongside mammals and other early life forms, slowly beginning to dominate the planet in their own way. In the end, it's impossible to say for certain what life would have been like if humans had existed alongside the dinosaurs. The challenges of surviving in such a hostile environment would have been immense, but human intelligence, adaptability, and creativity could have made it possible. Ultimately, the survival of humanity in a world ruled by dinosaurs would have come down to one simple question. Could we have learned to coexist with these ancient giants, or would we have been doomed to extinction ourselves? The dinosaur age, a time so distant from our own, was one of extreme contrasts. Giants roamed the land, the skies were filled with flying reptiles, and the seas were inhabited by massive aquatic creatures. Humans, with our small size and fragile bodies, might have struggled to survive in such an environment. But with intelligence and innovation, we may have found a way. Yet, the one certainty is that the Earth of the dinosaur era would have been unrecognizable to modern humans. The world of today is shaped by the evolution of mammals and the eventual rise of humans as the dominant species. But the Earth that existed millions of years ago was ruled by a different kind of giant. Whether or not humans could have lived alongside them remains a fascinating question, one that blends the realms of science fiction and paleontological speculation.